Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, lovely.
So it's Monday of week 2 of doing this every day.
What's up with this contraption here? I'm trying to be like Madonna and wear too many necklaces at one time. You know, she always has all her necklaces at one time. I feel like oh snap.
Oh boy. See, that's why we
Man down.
can't work under these conditions.
Man down. Well, Ellie pulled this out yesterday of my ear. Hi, good morning. And I thought that my whole earlobe
Morning, Michael.
went with it. But
didn't.
No, she didn't. And then she wanted to take care of me. She was like, "Oh, mommy, I'm so sorry." And then she took me upstairs and laid me down and got me a cool washcloth and
For
got a
your ear?
stethoscope. Oh yeah,
Good
it
work.
was like a whole deal. Good morning. It was like a whole deal. And it was great. And she took care of me and I loved it. So good morning. How are you? How was your fabulous weekend? What did you do? Who did you see? What inspired you? What moved you? What kind of rest did you get?
Or if you're watching this during the day, how did it go? Not everybody's up this early.
No. Congratulations that you're awake this early.
Yeah.
We understand. That is a big deal.
It's a thing.
We get it. So today we want to talk about being willing to look the fool and being willing to try new things in our lives and or just look dumb, right? Look stupid. I think for a reformed perfectionist like myself, it can be really hard to like not want to try new things or take on things unless I know that I'm going to look like I know what I'm doing. You know, I like the worst thing in the world for me in the past would be for somebody to say, "Oh, she's dumb," or "She doesn't know what she's doing," or appear incompetent.
All
right?
too often, people, sometimes myself included, don't do things because we're not already great at it.
And incompetence, if you're a perfectionist or a recovering perfectionist, and incompetence is a trigger for you, like you don't want people to look at you and go, "That girl doesn't know what the hell she's doing."
Well, and then here's where it goes even further. Sometimes in relationships, you're worried about how things are going to look and you may not want to try something or you may not want to say something because you're afraid of what that's going to look like too. It might look like a fool in that sense too.
Yeah, we don't want to look like we always do that in relationships, right? When we don't want to look like we're too eager, too needy, too whatever. So,
well, it's actually one of our deepest sort of things is especially now we're conditioned on how things look because everybody's broadcasting it.
Well, and also everybody's filtering it. So like we're in an Instagram filter society, and nobody wants to put out nobody always want to put it out unless it's the best thing, right? Unless you're best foot forward, but they can't all be like home runs, right? Sometimes you're going to put stuff out and it's going to be like,
what was that?
Yeah. And then other times you're going to do something and it's going to be like, wow, that was amazing.
And I recall working my prior career in music, there was so many times when I would like do a mix. Like a lot of times, like my role in the production was to do the final mix and put it all together. And there were times when I would, be like, I think they need a rough. I got to send them something. It's not exactly where I want it to be. It's not quite right. I'd send it in and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Don't touch a thing," or "Just raise this one thing." And then other times I'd be working on stuff and be like, "Oh, this is masterpiece." And I'd send it in and they'd be like, you missed the boat.
Or as Ellie goes,
yeah.
But that's all right, right?
Yeah.
You do never know what's going to click. I know this is really for you this morning. If you have something that you know that you want to bring forth to the world, a thing you want to do that you're not quite sure about how to go about it or what it's going to look like, but just to get started, like just to go for it, just to try it. And guess what? Here, let me set your mind at ease. The first time you do it, it's going to be terrible. It's going to suck, right? You're going to look stupid. All right.
And that's okay.
And but so I'll give you a perfect example. One of the things that I love to do for my mental health is to dance, is to move my body. And so if I can't take a dance class, sometimes I just like to go to Zumba class. So yesterday I get all suited up and ready to go. It's 11 o'clock and I go there early, right? So I'm there like at 10:30 and I'm like preparing for the class and getting ready to get my dance on. And then all of a sudden they just walk in and nobody says anything. They just put a sign on the door that says no Zumba today. So I'm like, damn, man, so
Zumba is closed.
So I'm in my heart. I go, I know I want to dance. Now I should have just gone to my regular old dance church. Shout out to Star Triana at Dry Star Studios. There's dance church every Sunday if you're in Lake Worth. Plus there's also classes. There's a cool one coming up now. But dance is a great modality for healing and unleashing your spirit and actually getting over yourself, right? But here I am in Ellie Fitness thinking, man, I really want to move my body, but I can't because there's no class, right? And I don't want to look like an idiot dancing around. So I farted around at first and
didn't look like it.
Did some like floor work. You know,
oh.
I pretended to be warming up, you know what I mean? So I'm standing there and I'm like, you know, warming up and, you know, doing this whole thing.
Were you wearing your headphones?
Yeah, I was wearing my headphones.
Okay.
But then I was like, no, I really just want to dance and move my body and not give a shit what people are looking at, right? So there's two stories, really. One is what other people are thinking. Oh my God, people are going to look in here and be like, that girl doesn't even dance. What the hell is she trying to prove? What's she doing in there? But that's not because nobody's thinking about you. Let me.
They're worried about what you're thinking.
Let me tell you, okay? We're all going, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? Here's a tip. Nobody's thinking about you. They're all thinking about themselves.
And what you're thinking of them.
Nobody's
Look
thinking
at that
about
cool chick dancing.
And you don't
what
even,
is she going to think about me doing these sit-ups right here? Like,
and you
can I hold this plank long enough?
Yeah. And you know what? Here's funny. You don't realize nobody's really looking at you until you become a marketer and you're trying to put some shit out in the world. And then you go, oh man, crickets. Nobody's watching.
Nobody's watching.
Nobody's watching. Huh? Nobody's looking at me. Oh,
yeah.
Be damned. Okay. So that's, here's a little reality tip nugget for this morning. Nobody cares. Okay. But we care, right? So it wasn't other people I was worried about at the gym. It was me I was worried about the gym. Much story in my head. I'm going to look like an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to dance. I've never been trained. I can't. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Long story short, I ended up doing like across the floor. And I don't know if you know what across the floor is, but if you dance, it's where you just go across the floor. And in the gym, there's all kinds of people going across the floor, but they're doing like squats.
Wait, there were still people in there doing their squats in there?
There's a couple people in there.
Okay.
Cool. So I had to get over. So I was like, screw it. I put on my headphones. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, I was like going across the floor. I mean, I was like doing it. And
wouldn't that be funny if someone taped that and that went viral?
Yeah, right. They're like, look at this idiot. She can't dance and she's trying. God bless her. Oh, bless your heart.
Dance like nobody's watching.
She did.
But look, someone watched.
Listen, bless her heart.
Isn't that awkward?
Is Texan for the finger. Bless your heart. That's Texan for the middle finger. So anyway, nobody was looking. That's the moral of the story. Is like we think we're the one looking, right? We're the one making all the judgments. So what do you need to do today that you've been putting off doing? Do you need to speak out in your work environment? Do you need to make a video today? Do you need to have that conversation? Do you need to call that girl or have that conversation with that person?
Or how can you challenge yourself even beyond, like, what is it not what that you need to do? What haven't you done that you've been scared to do that it's not even a need to do, but it's a stretch? What would stretch you so that when situations come up, you're more prepared, right? If you think about it as like an emotional workout, doing that, being able to do that when you didn't want to. Yeah, let's look at Jen's comment.
Does Heidi ever look bad? She always looks perfect. Well, let's talk about it. Last night, I put these little curlers in my hair. Let's finish your point first. You go on. I'm going to show.
What was I talking about? See, squirrel.
Squirrel.
It's looking bad.
Looking bad.
It's looking
she said
bad.
Heidi never looks bad. Look,
I know,
I put curlers in my hair last night. And that's what happened. Okay, look. It's like a little mini fro.
Well, that's actually what Barbie looks like when when Ellie's been playing with it a little bit. Yeah.
I know. It's
cute.
That's because you love me. So yeah, the story in your head about what people are thinking about you is not what other people are thinking about you. It's what you're thinking about. Good, very good. Go ahead.
So the idea of your ability to, there it goes again.
Damn this earring.
To do things that scare you, that you don't necessarily want to do, that you felt awkward. And then that gives you even more strength and ability to do things like this when it's just kind of just sharing, being vulnerable, just talking about what's going on and being authentic, or pushing yourself to make those phone calls that maybe you know you need to do, but I've been putting off. Or maybe it's going out and doing a presentation or sharing really how you're feeling with a loved one and having a deep conversation. Those become easier when you challenge yourself, when you stretch. So what stretching can you do today? And, you know, not to go out and say, how can I look like a fool per se, but what new things, you got to have goals. But knowing that it's going to not be great. And by the way, it also drives you. Funnily enough, it's somewhat topical. Last night I received in the mail audio of my first band. Was it my first? No, it was my second.
Slippery When Wet?
No, it's Soul Shaker. Soul Shaker was the band. But so my friend Dave, I'm sure he's not watching. He's probably maybe just getting home right now. He's in a band called Bile, which interestingly enough, I went to high school with the guy who created Bile. But anyway, so he sent me the music that originally was what drove me to go out and pursue the education to be a producer, an engineer, an artist, and all of that, because it sounded horrible. And I listened to it a little bit last night, and I played a little for Heidi last night on my phone, but I'm a little scared.
Pretty good.
Yeah, well, no, it was bad, and
that's a perfect barometer.
Yeah,
what you think is bad, other people think is
right.
Pretty good.
So it's interesting how though these opportunities drive us to hone our axes, to build that skill, but if you never know what opportunities lay in front of you if you don't go for it and screw up a little and go, oh, wow, the idea is also enjoying it. Like I've been getting into racquetball the last, several months. And at first, when I first started playing, I was really bad. And it was, unfortunate. And it was funny talking to the guys when I finally got worked my way into the crew. They were kind of like sharing the same thing. Oh yeah, you're going to hit plateaus, right? And then you're going to suck. Right, because that sucking is right before you start doing better again, and it's being okay with sucking for a little bit and looking like an idiot and looking like a fool, and
I love that. I think some of the questions the patterns that we get stuck in, and when we don't want to try new things, are like, well, that's not me. Or this is just the way I am, or this is just the way it is, or this is just the way they are.
They're naturally good at that. They're already,
those are all lies, right? This is just the way that I am. Well, we don't really know how we are. Most of us are not being who we are. We're being who we think we need to be in order to get love, affection, attention, connection, whatever it is. So let's be willing to look the fool and try on different. You can always be in a state of reinvention, right? You can always be willing to question. I have a client, and I love what she says. Her barometer is, does this make me feel more of who I am? Whatever she's about to do, and she doesn't do it if it pulls her away from feeling like that innate, and not like a locked in, this is who I am, I'm never changing. We're ever changing, never changing, right? Just like the universe. But I think that it's important to not get stuck in a pattern of, well, that's not for me. Well, that's for other people. I'm not good at that. So I don't, be careful. How do you know unless you step outside of your comfort zone and try it out?
And if you look at anything that you're good at or anything that you're great at, you sucked at first. You fell, you fall.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so, and perfectionists like rehearse in their head before they do it. So they're actually pretty better than a lot of people when they first start. But the reality is, like, we got to get over that, because that's, you do a lot of mental masturbation, like preparing yourself to be able to go after the thing, and then by the time you go after, it's too late, so. Well,
there's a fine line too right there. The visualization, if you're doing it in a way and you're visualizing it and you're preparing, that could serve you, but then it could also keep you stuck if you never go past that.
Is it too early to say mental masturbation?
No one got pissed.
It's pretty early in the morning for
Didn't
that.
see any. I guess we could ask, is it okay to say that?
The thing is that also, I'm a person that values authenticity. Like, I just want to, and authenticity sometimes gets confused. Inauthenticity gets confused with novelty. Anytime anybody tries anything out for the first time, it's going to have an error of inauthenticity, because your true voice really isn't in it yet, because you're holding back, you're restricted, you're nervous. Like if you're going to make videos or you're going to put yourself out there, do whatever, at first it'll seem a little inauthentic, but it's not. It's just you're scrambling to try to get over the smoke screen of fear, and then eventually you get rooted down in who you are, and it becomes more authentic seeming, but it's always you.
Well, and part of that is, at first, some things are going to look a little contrived because they are.
because you're trying it out.
Yeah, and it's just you haven't mastered it, and it may or may not be because it just may be natural, like riding a bicycle at first. It's like, whoa.
When not to like what we always use examples from our own life. When we first started dating, there was a time when, you know, you were trying out something different with me, right?
Because you had asked.
Yeah, I'd asked you to do something with me.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what it was, but I'd asked you to do something with me, and maybe let's just use an example of like come alongside somebody and be affectionate. That wouldn't be it, because you do that naturally. And let's say that you ask somebody, hey, can you be more affectionate with me? And then they say, yeah, sure. And then later on in the week or the month, they're like, okay, they come alongside you, and you're like, that wasn't genuine. Right. That wasn't authentic. And I remember I'd said to you at one point, that doesn't feel genuine. And you stopped me in my tracks and you looked at me. I'll never forget it. And you said, can you give me some credit because it's new and I'm trying it out? And maybe it's not inauthentic. Maybe I'm just clunky. Okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm just trying it. And so, wow. A reformed perfectionist doesn't only hold herself to those high standards. She holds everybody else around her to those standards too. And well, you better be on your game all the time and you better not fail. And what a crappy way to go through life. It's like, we're all fumbling, right? We're all trying out new things. And the biggest gift we can give each other is to give permission to look like an idiot. Now, who do you need to give that permission to? Oh, I give you permission to look like an idiot because I'm going to be perfect over here.
You're going to be perfect about giving me permission.
I'm going to be perfect and you be the idiot. Try it out. Okay, no, it's like we need to give ourselves permission to look stupid, not have the answers, not to try something out, to fumble through our feelings and call it out and just be like, hey, look, I'm new at this, right? I'm trying it out. And give yourself permission. Not that you have to tell the world, hey, it's my first day in my sales job today and you're my first victim. Not like that, but really, let's not take ourselves so seriously, right? That's a big gift. A lot of the people that I work with have overcome a childhood of toxicity or trauma. And one of the traits is perfectionism, and another one is taking ourselves very seriously. It's like, so this inner child stuff of like getting back to like being willing to like try stuff and like fall down is a skill
that we need to master. How to enjoy that stuff. And then James is asking, what if you can't tell if you're good at something?
How do you know until you try it?
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily, that's the other thing. Why does it have to be good?
Well, good is for the deaf. It's got to be outstanding.
Well, you know what I mean? But it's like to even be evaluating that, unless it's like you're performing brain surgery, a large part of this conversation is also about enjoying the process. If you why
do you have to be good? Why can't it just be fun?
Right. That's the the cliche, dance like nobody's watching, right? Because truth is that sometimes the people who are having the most fun doesn't necessarily look as graceful and elegant as the perfect dancer who's done all that work to become so great at it. They may not be enjoying it as much as the person who's just being free and just having a great time. It's not always going to look perfect because it's not about that.
Yeah. Hey, Jennifer, how was your move? Are you all settled into your new, oh snap, what did I do?
Oh boy.
Are you all settled into your new place? I can't work a Mac. Can you go up on the comments?
Oh boy.
Oh no. Oh, we're ruining it.
Okay. Oh, can't tell you're good at it. And every time you search for your niche, you come
okay.
short.
So here's the thing. So I'm going to guess that we're talking about let's talk about a niche or a niche at work, right? And we always say niche down and serve. When people are looking for their people they're going to work with, right? Their ideal client or they should really serve or what they should really get into in life. Your answer is nowhere outside of yourself. It's not like, well, who's available? Who wants to hear me? Who wants to hear what I have to say? Who's going to line up? It's not out there. It's what do I enjoy talking about? What have I been through and overcome personally? What inspires and lifts me up naturally? What would I want to hear? Because your ideal client is just a version of you and you're just a little further down the path.
Right. And that's the thing. So you just have to be a little bit better than somebody else, not everybody else.
Just the person you're on the path.
Yeah, and it's going to be a group of people, but really sometimes we think that we've got to be, and that was a challenge.
So much more enlightened, so much better,
my goodness.
So much further along.
Working with Tony Robbins, being on the road with Tony and all of that, that's a pretty high standard. Like, oh my gosh, if I'm constantly comparing myself to Tony, It's not even fair. Like we're just, and that's the other challenge. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to anybody because everybody's different and unique is going to have something to offer. So it's being open and present to, you are better than whatever your niche is than enough other people.
Here's the other piece too. Obviously my clients are a version of me, right? So they're going to be either growing up with alcoholic parents or having some kind of trauma or toxicity or something like that. They're going to be people who have dysfunctional relationships, achieve success in most areas, but not in one, right? A version of me. Okay. But so I get on and I speak to those problems and I speak to those challenges and those issues that I've overcome. But you know what really why people end up hiring me or calling me? I say, well, what attracted you? They say, I want your confidence, or I want your ability to just be yourself. Like you just don't care and I want to not care. And so what you think you're offering people sometimes is really not what you're offering them. It's not what they really needed. They want it's your essence. And what people are relating to in you is your essence, not whatever particular thing you happen to be talking about or what you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just they're buying into you, right? So
yeah, good stuff.
All right, great. Hey, Ellie.
I'm gonna see if Ellie wants to say hello.
Your friends this morning? Want to come say hi this morning? She goes, ugh.
Oh, like it's a chore. Come here, Birdie.
Do you want to say good morning to everybody this morning? And we got to start the Monday off on the right foot. Everybody be excited about the week and looking forward to it. Hello.
Hi, everybody. It's Ellie here. And I hope we could do to go to school. I hope you have a great day at school. I hope you could more work, and I hope you could listen very well. I promise you could do this, and you got this. You could really do this. You know how to do this. You're grown up, and I know. And
so good, honey.
I love you. I hope you have a nice day. Bye.
Perfect, baby.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we love you. Do you have anything else?
You've got this. You
You've
know
got
how
this.
to do this.
I love you.
You're a grown up. Have a great day, guys.
We love you for who you are and who you aren't.
I love you, grown up.
Bye.
I love you, grown up.
Bye.
I love you, grown up.